Hi friends. Now today I have the honor of introducing to you Dr. Kaustav Jain. He is rank 18 in this December 2019 PGI exam, which is an awesome performance. Kaustav, I'm really proud of your achievement.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And you know what makes me even more delightful is to know that he is a 4-year DAMS student. He has been with us from his second MBBS, then in a pre-foundation course, then into the foundation course TND. You know, we have literally seen him grown up with in the medical profession with us, and we really are proud of his achievement. So Kaustav, what is the exact feeling that you're feeling now, and how did you feel when you saw your name in the rank in the online login?
So it is quite unbelievable, sir. Matlab, I did expect a good rank in PGI, but I was not expecting such a good rank. After AIMS, I was a little disappointed. So it was a very nice feeling to get such a good rank.
And you know what were your thoughts? Like, you know, you were telling me that, you know, in the AIMS exam your rank was not up to your expectation.
Yes, sir.
And so what was going through your mind in that 1 week?
Yes, in the week after the AIMS, sir, I just I thought the main reason because the AIMS did not go as planned. So because I think so I took too much stress in the preceding week. So I just tried to keep things simple in the week after the AIMS. I just did previous papers and analyzed my mistakes in those previous papers. I did not read nothing new, nothing specially for PGI. Sandeep sir's updates were in the club. I focused on those topics and previous papers. That's all for PGI. I did nothing more than that.
So I probably believe that in now in the current scenario, to keep your approach simple actually pays back,
Yes, sir.
rather than complicating it too much.
Yes, so that's definitely true because for AIMS I think I did complicate it a lot, but for PGI I really kept it simple.
And when you were a part of DAMS in your second MBBS, and so what was your experience at that time, and then what was the experience in the third year at that time? Because at that time your first exposure into the competition was with DAMS, and how did it feel?
So starting early is always an advantage. So because I joined in second year, so you get a feel of the questions, of the pattern. So it's always nice to start early. So in my second and third prof, I had after the third prof, I had all the notes of the 19 subjects.
Yeah.
So that gave me an advantage, I think. So I could revise all of them in final year. In my and the internship, I joined TND. So that was the icing on the cake. So yeah, sir, starting early is always a nice thing, I think so.
I think that you know, do you agree that it gives you that head start that now, you know, I can take it easy and do everything at your own pace, enjoy yourself, instead of, you know, doing all 19 in 1 year?
Yes, definitely. Because in final year, I don't think you should be doing all the 19 subjects. So if you start early, then you can just plan your final year and internship year much better because you have all the things there. You just need to revise all the things. So it does not give you much pressure on this. So I think so. Starting second and third year, if you have all the notes, then if you can add on the things which you think you are weak at, and that's it, sir. That will be very beneficial, I think so.
How was your experience with the classroom program, and you know, how much do you feel that classroom experience helped you into building notes, into building your motivation? How did that work?
So notes obviously form the core of my learning curve. So notes are very important because the notes form a baseline from which you start. So I made all the notes. I read them thoroughly. Whichever things I felt were not in notes or I was weak in. So just I read it from some other source and added in my notes. So that was the main thing. So notes are the key to any exam, sir.
And I also believe that, you know, when you are listening in the class and understanding, and that understanding you are at that time writing in the class, that makes the best quality of notes that you can actually revise later on. And if you utilize notes that have been made by somebody else, or you photocopy it, ultimately that self angle is lost, and you don't form that trust into the notes, and you're not able to revise. And in these exams where the syllabus is massive, if you have your own made notes with you have learned in the classes, listen to them, you have that auditory component with the notes attached, and your own hand and your own way of writing, it helps in the later on
Yes,
revision.
definitely. So reading owns notes, sir, it's very important, sir. No matter how many notes you get, but if they are not written by you, sir, it won't stick to your mind. So I also tried to read some photocopied notes, but it never helped me. So in the end, sir, whichever notes you have written by your own hand, so that is the key in the end because you can't remember anything else in the exam day. So just you in the exam you get to know where I've written this thing there and this thing there. So that is the key, sir, because photocopied notes and some other notes are not going to help from my point of view.
Any, you know, particular teachers that come to your mind today?
Yes, sir, definitely, sir. Dr. Deepti ma'am, sir, and Dr. Arvind sir. Sir, Arvind sir's medicine is just awesome, sir. Way he taught CVS and recipe, sir. So I did not read anything else about medicine for these two subjects. And so obviously radiology, your class, most of the things get covered there. Apart from that, so physiology, I think Dr. Anupama ma'am, she taught us concepts very well. And then so for the Diksha ma'am notes were quite crisp, and she gave a lot of important concepts. So in short subjects, ENT was, I think, everything. Deepak sir covered everything. And PSM biostats, Siddharth sir has taught biostats. I think he's outstanding in this. And then sir, for surgery also, sir, surgery GIT was quite thoroughly covered by Dr. Rajiv. And so yeah, that's the main thing I think.
And then when this was the experience in your initial years, and then you converted into a TND in the internship. How was your experience with the test and discussion, the quality of questions being framed in the test and the discussions?
Yes, so TND is, I think, very important to evaluate ourselves, because in internship you don't get a lot of time. So you need to evaluate yourself after 1 week or 2 weeks. So you see where are you going. So I attended most of the TNDs of the DAMS. More than 90% TNDs I attended, and so they are very important, because which are the new updates or new topics which you have missed previously, they get covered in TND. And if you revise TND notes just before the exam, because they are very short, they can revise in 1 to 2 days. So I think it helps a lot and it covers most of the important things.
And it is our endeavor is that when we are in TND, we know that there are many students who have done with us in second year, third year, and during that 3 years, if some updates have come, we try to put them also in TND, so that you get that advantage of that. Okay, this thing has changed between the second year class and the internship, because medicine sometimes the classifications and the recommendations also change. And what did you also utilize the simulated testing platform that we give, where you do a CBT in the computer centers?
Yes,
How was your experience with that?
So I have given 3 CBTs, CBT 1, 2, and 3. The fourth one I gave from my home because I could not go to the center. So in CBT 1, I got a rank of about 100. In CBT 2, I got 19, and CBT 3, I got 13 rank.
So your CBT ranks were approximately similar to what you actually ended up getting here.
Yes, sir.
So do you think that gave you the confidence that you have that ability to do well in a central exam?
Sir. Obviously, sir. If you see the CBT results, so it gives a lot of confidence, sir, and it just brings a momentum so you can study further. So I think giving grant tests and CBTs are very, very important. So you should at least give one grant test every fortnight. So that's my thing.
Were you when you were giving the CBT, were you happy with the platform that we have to assess, and the way the questions are displayed, how the questions are selected? Were you happy with the
Yes, sir, because so it really simulated the real exam. So it was very nice, sir. There was nothing much can be done about that. It was perfect, sir.
And do you also recommend that the candidates in future should also give grant tests a lot?
Yes, grant tests are very, very important. So you should give them from your first year of internship or wherever you are starting a preparation, first month. So it helps to monitor your progress, or whether you are increasing or whether static. So it's very important to give grant tests.
Did you also utilize the eMedicos app for the AIMS capsule and the DVT session for revision? What was your experience?
So AIMS capsule and DVT I revised thoroughly before my AIMS exam. In the last 2 to 3 days, I only did my DVT and AIMS capsule. So that was very helpful to revise everything in a short time before the exam, because notes reading, I read the notes before the AIMS exam, but in the last 2 to 3 days you cannot read everything. So it gives if you have all the important topics in one place, so it really helps a lot.
Now here I have a suggestion to make for future aspirants, that in the last 1 or 2 days, if you keep many things for last, sometimes it becomes very overwhelming. Last day you are estimating 24 hours, but out of the 24 hours, the anxiety will kill a lot of it. So you can leave the resources like DVT, where you have the small 5-10 minutes video by teachers to revise, and they can be passively consumed at that time. So DVT and the AIMS capsule, they are very suitable things to be used for the final 2-3 day revision. And because sometimes the anxiety may not allow you to actively do something, but you can passively consume the revision at that time.
So yeah, that is very important, because actively it is very difficult to read on the last day, because your mind is wandering on so many things.
Yes.
So if there is someone teaching you in the video, so you can just concentrate and read it. So that is the best thing I think about DVT and AIMS capsule.
Now, were you happy with the way in DAMS we have a doubt solving mechanism, connect all the time with the teachers through the Facebook group? DAMS is not just about, teaching, it is also about connecting to you later on. And how was your experience with that?
Yes, DAMS groups, I think it's a very wonderful idea, because if you have any doubts, you can just search through the groups. Most of our doubts are already answered by teachers. So I was not very active on the group, but I searched a lot of things which I have doubt, because 99% of the times my doubt was already answered by the teacher in the group. So I think that's a very wonderful platform to get your doubts sorted.
And you've given this PGI exam. PGI exam has 1250 decision points, like 250 questions they say, but actually each question has five choices and you can divide it into 1250. How many did you finally attempt, if you can recall?
So I think I've been attempted approximately 600 to 650 questions in the PGI. And the number of options I marked around 600 to 650.
Were you like over aggressive or over defensive in the exam, or you let the decision be on each question?
So I was a little aggressive because whenever I had a doubt 50-50, so I marked the option. I did not leave it because I think most of the times if you have a little doubt, so I think you tend to get it correct. So I marked the which have 50-50 doubt, but I think I attempted a fair number of questions. I was happy with that in the end.
Did you also utilize the previous papers from the eMedicos app, and what role do you think previous paper videos, discussions that we have already loaded on eMedicos help in the real exam?
Yes, and definitely in central exams, especially for PGI, I think the previous papers are very, very important because the exact questions may not be repeated, but the same topic tend to get repeated. And if you know, if you have seen the videos or done the previous papers, you have the idea of what to mark in the question. So if any question which we have no idea about, so some of the questions were like all the five options I don't know did not know about, but in the end, some of the questions in previous year have come which all the five options were correct. So if you don't know but we have saw the similar topic or similar something in the previous, so if you mark all the options, by luck it can get correct. So but I think that happened to me also. So I think previous papers are must for AIMS and PGI.
And I think in Central Institute is also give you a head start that you already expect that, okay, this is how the exam will feel like. You're not surprised on the day of the exam because you've already seen the previous papers. And I also believe that in these exams, last 3 years are the most vital. To go much, many people go too much back, but that usually does not help nowadays with the how the speed in which the medicine is evolving. If you read 10 years back, 20 years back, it is actually of no use in the real exam. And Kaustav, I also want to know from you that now that you have given both the AIMS and PGI exam, any particular topics that you felt were more represented in PGI Chandigarh, or any topics or any suggestions for future aspirants?
So in PGI, definitely your biochemistry has to be very, very strong, sir, because biochemistry, they were from biotechnology, so there were many questions. So, sir, biochemistry forms the main chunk of your exam. So, for AIMS, sir, obviously, sir, the paper was very clinical. So, based on the previous papers, the pattern was same, but you get new questions in clinical. So, your clinicals need to be very strong. So, apart from that, in PGI, sir, I think the previous papers, if you do previous papers, you automatically get to know which topics to focus on. So that's it, sir. In PGI, so biochemistry is very, very important, and so surgery, I think so. It was very much unlike the previous years, but it was doable. So surgery was, I think, quite a number of questions were there. So that was also important.
And this time, even in AIMS, they did not restrict to general surgery alone. They
Yes,
had a
sir.
lot of coverage of surgery,
Yes,
and
sir.
I think in PGI classically they try to ask all topics. It's not just one topic, and so that global knowledge that you have always helps on the day
Yes,
of the
sir.
exam.
Well, you have to read everything. You cannot leave anything. But in the last few days, you have to do important topics. So if you have left some topic, that will definitely cost you in the end. So I'm saying that you have to read everything, but you have when you know the important topics, you can revise them before the exam. So that is the main thing, sir.
How many revisions were you able to make do before the AIMS exam or the PGI exam?
So before AIMS, sir, I completed my two thorough revisions and one revisions of important topics. So three revisions were there before the AIMS exam, and after the AIMS exam, for PGI, sir, I just went back and saw my whichever grant test and I have given. I reviewed that and solved PGI 2 to 3 years past papers.
Do you think that you were able to do this number of revision because you had started early, you had made class notes, all that helped you to
So
do multiple
definitely, sir,
revision?
if you have everything in place before the year started and you know what you are going to do, so it's definitely it helps. And because internship is very hectic in our college, so obviously you cannot leave it till the internship year to make notes and do then everything. So it is obviously, sir, it is very important to start early, especially if you have a very hectic internship.
And what role do you think classroom learning plays in competitive exams, like the foundation years and the pre-foundation year that you did with us? What role would you think they play in the exam?
So classroom are is very important. So classrooms are notes you make, and so it always remains with you. So whenever in the exam, you know that if you have written your own notes and you remember the teacher was saying this and I have written this, so nothing can replace that, I think, because if you read anything or read any number of notes, but if you have not attended the class, so I don't think you can recall 100% of your notes. So sir, classroom is very important, I
And I
think.
also want to add it here that a lot of time, sometimes we believe that if you can hear a recorded lecture for many hours, but usually to do that kind of concentration is very difficult.
So,
Nothing replaces the live lecture where you have a teacher in front of you and you people around you, everybody studying together. All that works out in the exam, and it also helps you to know that others are also working hard. I also need to work hard. That competitive spirit also gets created
yes
in the
sir.
classroom. Any, how did you maintain your motivation? I want to ask you that, were there any times where you had that, okay, maybe I will not be able to do it, or any low points during this time?
Yes, because in the start of the internship, so I felt the internship was very, very hectic. So for the first, I think for 2 to 3 weeks, I just lost all my hopes. I just thought that I will have to repeat it because it's not possible to do it in internship here. But then our seniors from our college, they also had done it in the past. So that gave me motivation because if our seniors can do it, so why can't I do it? So just you have to be sincere and hardworking. And I think if you have all your resources ready and you are ready to sacrifice a little bit, so it's not that a hard job to get a good rank in AIMS in
And
PGI.
I also believe that internship is something that is not a surprise. When you look at your seniors today, now suppose you're a third year MBBS student listening to us today, when you look at your college, you already know how heavy internship would be there in your college. So if you can anticipate that, like he did, so he had already decided that I'll build up my resources before my internship, so that in the internship I'll consume them and I'll go for test practice. And
So,
if you notice, he had given all CBTs despite a heavy internship. He had focused more on grant tests, and in internship he had that time because notes making, understanding, classroom part he had already done in the initial part. And all this was done because he had initially also, I think, in your subconscious you had this in your mind that, okay, you had seen your seniors that internship will be heavy.
yes, I knew that internship would be very heavy. So I already, matlab, I knew that internship is heavy. So I made my all resources my ready before my internship started. So I planned out all the year ki what will I do when. So the planning is very important to get a good rank in the your internship.
And
Yeah.
I think that can be planned. And I want everybody to understand that many students who come to me and say, sir, my internship is very hectic, so I'm not able to prepare. But you have to anticipate it. That is what is called as planning. You have to anticipate it. Just look around and see how heavy an internship is in your hospital. So how much time would you have in internship, so that you can do that groundwork earlier. And that is where I think starting early matters, especially in places where you have a busy internship. And another question that comes to my mind is that now that you have done it with internship, in your first attempt you have done it, you have been able to do it. Do you want to tell it to some interns who are listening today and they are thinking, maybe sir, I cannot do it in internship or not? Do you want to guide them somehow?
Yes, definitely, sir. So there is no point thinking that you cannot do it because if you do hard work and sacrifice some of the things which you do, so it is possible to do in internship also, sir. Because, so if you have all the resources ready, I believe, sir, no matter how the hectic an internship is, so you get a little bit of free time. So that is, I think, quite okay if you have all the things ready and you just planned out your year. So I think it can be done. So it's not such a big deal that you cannot do it with internship, sir.
Any particular line or thing, or thing that motivated you all the time, or that could help you to come out of those troughs that happen in between?
Yes, sir. Because first of all, sir, I just looked at my seniors, sir. They also got through central institutes in the past. So, sir, that was the biggest motivation because if someone previously had done it, so, sir, I think I knew that I could do it. So that was the biggest motivation. Then my obviously my parents always motivated me to get a good rank. So, sir, and always teachers at DAMS, sir, your motivational quotes at DAMS club, sir. So that were really helpful in every way, sir.
Any message that you want to give to future aspirants, or any motivational line that might inspire them in future?
So I just want to say that, sir, if you really want your seat, sir, and you have done hard work, sir, don't no matter what, sir, you will get it. If not in first exam, sir, in some of the institutes, you will definitely get your rank. So there is no point crying over if you not get a good rank in AIMS. You definitely get in PGI. So I think just keep working hard, and I think everyone who has sincerely done his work, sir, will get a seat in exams.
That's a very good point that he has raised, that today now, at least for the time being, we have this advantage in India that we have multiple exams. So, many times I've seen that the first exam that an intern would appear would be either AIMS or, so if somebody is not able to do well in that exam, you have to come out of it very fast, because next week PGI exam is coming. If you start thinking, oh my god, what has happened, I am not able to do it and all that, you put negativity into it and you spoil the next exam also. While it is possible to do well, and he has, actually proven it in front of you, that how to improve it in within 1 week by positive intent, and keeping it simple, that previous papers I have to look at, I have to do this, and go ahead and give the exam. Each exam is a different gateway, a different opportunity, more, and you might hit gold in one of them. So it is better to come out of any one debacle you have very fast, so that you can hit it hard in the next exam. If you're not able to do it in the next exam, there is one more exam coming up, then there is a NEET coming up. So this is my message to people who have not done well so far in the central exams. Don't panic, there is one more month to go for it. Please continue your hard work, and there will be a exam where you will hit it better than others, and you might be giving your interview in this studio in the coming years. And any thoughts on which branch will you be wanting to take?
So I would want to take surgery, sir. So
I hope and wish you that you get the branch of your choice in
thank
the
you, sir.
institute of your choice. I wish you all the best, and I take this opportunity to congratulate your parents as well. Heartiest congratulations, best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Best of
Thank you
luck.
so much.